If COVID has taught us nothing else, it is that we need the loving support of a community that cares about us. This is true in your personal life, and more, it is increasingly important inside of your studio also. In today's episode of the Pilates Business Podcast, we are going to look at why community matters in your business and what you can do to foster one your clients are going to enthusiastically embrace and engage in. Well, hi there, I'm Seran Glanfield. I'm a business and marketing strategist just for boutique fitness studio owners like you. If you're ready to be inspired and make a bigger impact, you're in the right place. All you need are a few key strategies, the right mindset, and some support along the way. Join me as I share the real life insights that will help you grow a sustainable and profitable studio. This is the Pilates Business Podcast. Welcome back to the Pilates Business Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Seran. I'm the founder of Spring 3 Studio Consulting, and I'm super excited for the topic we're going to be talking about today. I've been wanting to do this episode for a long time. I've been thinking about it, thinking about how I want to incorporate it, what I want to say in it. Because community is so important. Studios are communities. Every time I talk to a studio owner about their studio, they tell me that it is such an energizing and coming together of people and who support each other and care for each other. It's where friendships are made. You know, your studio really is a community, and that's one of the reasons why you make such a big impact in the lives of your clients, because you bring them together to move, to be healthy, to be happy, but also to give them that camaraderie, to give them that friendly smile when they need it and you didn't even know they did. It's all a big part of what you do in your studio. We all need support and camaraderie to feel like we belong. And that word belong is so incredibly important because human beings are wired for togetherness. This is something that is inside of us. This is something that we often, we need. We just need it, right? And as a studio owner, this is so relevant to you because what you give to your members really goes far beyond the body alone. You're creating a membership or a space or a place for people with a shared commitment, not only to their well-being, but to getting that well-being inside your studio. So you are creating a community. And if nurtured heartfully, intentionally, and thoughtfully by you and everyone who works inside of your studio, you're going to have something very special on your hands that serves your business, your members, and the greater good. And in today's episode of the Pilates Business Podcast, we're going to look at why community really matters in your business and what you can do to foster one that your clients are going to enthusiastically embrace and engage in. So first up, we're going to talk about why community really does matter so much. And I know that for some of you, it's something that just happens very naturally and very organically. And it's such a beautiful thing when that happens. And it's something that you kind of bring people together who love to do what it is you're teaching, whether that's Pilates or barre or yoga or movement. And we all know that we really like it when we're part of a group that just feels right, when we're part of a group where you're like-minded, you have similar energy levels, you have similar enthusiasm for something that you're doing together, right? And here's why this matters in the context of owning a boutique fitness studio. To put it simply, if you're able to create a sense of community, if you have a true community in your studio between your business and your clients, you're developing and deepening that emotional connection between your business and your clients. And that deep connection, that emotional connection results in your members feeling much more invested in your studio and in you and in your teachers. And not only will they feel that loyalty on another level, they will probably more likely tell their friends about you, or their friends will hear them talking about your studio, they will probably also buy any merchandise you sell and wear it with pride. They'll listen to what you tell them. They will trust you and, become evangelists for what you and your studio have to offer. Your studio will likely generate more revenue, get more action on social media channels, and receive more referrals because of the investment in creating this sense of community. Okay. Now, your community can also serve you massively from a business perspective, from a marketing perspective. When you take the time to think about your values, what you stand for, and how you want your business to make your members and your clients feel, you end up with clear messaging around your brand. And when you have a community, like I know so many of you have, in deep that at the core of that, there are some values that you stand by that you may not even be aware that you stand for. And you don't even realize perhaps how important those core values are, and often they are, they are things like respect and support and there is like there's just this sort of like sense of wanting people to belong at the core of the strongest communities inside the studios that I have worked with. And when you think about defining your core values, what you stand for, and what you want your members and your clients to feel like, once you get super clear about that, you can put that into your marketing. You can highlight that. And what happens when you're able to really define what those things are, you're able to begin to talk about those things, then you find that even more people find you and are more of the right kind of people who are going to love what you do. Those things that you do, and often I am telling you, they will be the things that feel the most natural to you, that they are also the things that make your studio uniquely yours. So if you're able to take the time to think about what you care about inside of your studio business, the experience that you want to give to your clients, that will serve as a framework for your marketing messages. That will serve as the type of content that you'll want to share with new clients, with existing clients, and with people that may not even know you yet. Those defining features will guide you and inform you as to perhaps whether some strategies or tactics or programs that you might consider putting out there into the world are actually in line and aligned with everything that you aspire to be for your clients. And so what we love when we start to think about what your community is, your values are, you start to think about also what your brand looks like and thinking about who your ideal client is. And when you're able to define what that looks like, that person who is exactly who you want in your community as your client, they will walk into your studio and they will know that they are in the right place because they will feel like they belong. Okay. And that's so incredibly important, that word belonging. It's not just about being welcomed. It's about actually belonging and being a part of your community. So now that we've talked a little bit about why community matters in your studio business, let's get into how you can go about creating it. Now, before you kind of invest heavily in your community building, I want you to get super clear, like I said, and very specific about what your business stands for. All right. You deliver, and you kind of have to repeat this after me. You deliver an experience and results to your members that they cannot get from anyone else. What you do in your studio, the experience you give, the energy, the atmosphere, the way that you speak to your clients, the way that they work with you, that is unique to you and your studio. Right. And so being able to talk about that with your clients, being able to share that with the world is a skill that you're going to have to develop. Why? Well, it's when you're able to define what it is that you do and do differently is how you're going to attract the right people into your business. And it's what's going to make people want to come back for more. Okay. And once you can understand what that is, that's a really good place to start when it comes to defining your brand. And we want to define your brand. We want to know what your core values are. We want to understand that because when you are when you're thinking about how to build and deepen that relationship with your clients, that's how you really start to develop that really loyal community, that supportive, friendly, encouraging, energized group of clients that consistently are in your business and in your studio and creating connections with others in your studio also. Okay. And that really is such a big part of what I know studio owners are doing inside of their studios. And sometimes it's kind of by design, and sometimes it just is sort of the way things have evolved very, very organically. Either way, it's something that I would love for you to explore and explore how you can make sure that you're developing that community and that you are developing that sense of belonging, because that will help all of your clients to feel like they are in the right place for them and give them make them much more likely to keep coming back and becoming that amazing superstar client that we want for our businesses, right? So we need to get clear on some of those feelings that we want people to feel when it comes to being in our business. So how do you want your clients to feel when they interact with you? What do you want them to feel when they leave your studio? What energy does your studio have? How do you welcome people, greet people into the studio, into your classes? And how do you when they leave, how do you say goodbye? How does your classes end? How do your sessions end? And then it's sort of interesting to think about what might be kind of a big turnoff to people in your community, so that you can just be clear about what it is that actually, you never want to talk about with them. You never want to allow them to feel, if you can, right? And so you want to get clear about what you can be doing and what you definitely don't want to be doing. Okay. And then the other thing to think about when it comes to developing that community and that brand and those core values is, just thinking about what it is that when people talk about your studio, what it is they're saying about you, right? What do you want them to say about you? So how are they talking about your studio? How are they talking about what they experience inside of your studio with, say, their friends and their colleagues and their family members, their spouses, right? And these are the types of questions that you'll need to deeply consider, if you want to really kind of deepen and establish a strong community in your studio. Okay. Now, once you kind of have thought about what those kind of beliefs and that purpose of your community really is, we want to think about the space for your community members to gather. What does that look like and feel like? And, I talk a lot about brand and brand awareness, and a lot of developing that brand awareness is about being very consistent. And when you are very consistent with an experience you deliver to your clients, that's when people start to get comfortable and feel like they belong. Okay. And that might sound very intuitive to you, or perhaps maybe it's never something you've really thought about. Either way, you want to be very mindful of how you present your space and how you welcome people into your space and how consistent you are with the experience they have in your space. So if you have a brick and mortar studio, this may be that will probably be where, that's the gathering place for your community. But, if you are an online studio, then, you can also recreate that energy in a digital space as well, right? And create a place for people to kind of come together and make that a big part of what you're doing overall. And, even if you are in I think that people feel often if you're in a virtual space that it's not as effective at creating community, and that there is something to be said for that, for sure, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. I've seen a lot of incredible communities really flourish, especially in the last couple of years, and create a sense of real sense of belonging and creating a real connection with others, even in the online space, between people who have never met in person. Right. And so you can still give your members a place to connect and communicate with one another, support one another, encourage one another, and share their love of your business with others who may be kind of a perfect fit for it also. Now, what I will say when it comes to creating this sense of community in your business is that you will be the one to establish the rules of engagement within your community, right? And also you'll be the one to perhaps welcome people in and bring them into your community, introducing them to perhaps other members of your community, who could be people who work in your studio, your teachers, and other team members, your front desk person, and so on. But also perhaps introducing them to other members that you know that they will interact with and see perhaps in class as well. And you will bring the energy that encourages them to engage with each other. And it's a really powerful thing when your clients start to make friends with other clients inside of your studio. We know that the more connections they have inside of your business, the more likely they are to come back. And it really is a very wonderful thing for them and to be able to experience that inside of your business, inside of your studio business. So maybe that chit chat at the beginning of class that, I know always perhaps maybe gets classes started a little bit late isn't such a bad thing at all. Okay. Now you will have members already that are fiercely loyal to you and your studio. And, these are your brand heroes and we love them dearly. They will always invite their friends and spread the word about the goodness going on inside of your business. And, for those people, we want to make sure that we are so grateful and sharing our gratitude for them and as often as we need to make sure that they feel very, very appreciated. And, when it comes to perhaps giving thanks to those members, there is often this sort of long-standing trend of perhaps offering a discount on other services. But what we know is that just a little extra love and a personal touch actually goes quite a long way in nurturing those relationships with your most involved members. So instead of perhaps giving them a discount on their next package, a handwritten note or flowers or a small other gesture, perhaps of something that is not related to something that you sell in your studio, is a nice way to give thanks without devaluing your services. Now, I know firsthand just how valuable a community can be for business because I get to see it in action every single day with the studio owners that are part of my Thrive community. These studio owners have never met. Actually, they have met. Some of them have met in person. Most of them have not. And despite that, they show up for each other every single day in our community, sharing feedback, asking questions, giving answers, and lots of support. And it's really incredible and such a beautiful thing to see people come together who come together because they are like-minded and come together because they enjoy that sense of community and togetherness and that they have within a community. And that's exactly what happens inside of your studio too. And, I have clearly defined those values as a business and those values for, every decision I make about, what I do when I help my studio owners. And I'm very, very careful with how I talk about my community within my community and establishing, how people should come into the community and how I welcome folks in and make sure that everyone feels like they have a voice in the community and make sure everyone knows that they are absolutely in the right place. Okay. So when you do that in your community also, you'll create a place that feels right, like that people just naturally feel a sense of belonging. And your business will be well on its way to not just long-term business success, but it will create happiness in the lives of your clients, but also a really strong sense of fulfillment for you also. So there you have it, all the whys, all the hows of how and why you need community in your studio. Remember, you want to start by getting clear on your values and build your marketing around defining those values, defining what those core values are about what you care about in your business, so that when people show up and see you, they will know that you are the right place for them. They know what they're getting themselves into when they walk through the door, and they will have a certain sense of what they can expect and perhaps get excited for as a member of your community. You also want to make sure you're very consistent in the way that you bring your community together and what it looks like and feels like to be in your community. So that consistency means that, you want to make sure you have perhaps certain activities that you do on a regular basis, and the way that you start and end class, the way that you greet people, bring your clients into your studio, the more consistent you can be with their experiences, the more it will feel like they are more and more comfortable in your space. And you want to consistently deliver an experience that turns community members into those people who refer their friends and talk about you to everybody they know, those amazing evangelists for your business, right? That's what we want. We want those superstar champions of your business, and the people who really just make you feel that make you feel like you're doing a great thing for them, but also that they are doing great things for each other, right? And so I have to say that if you have a community inside of your studio, I know that for so many of you, it is something actually that really helps other clients to feel like they can keep coming back. And you'll find that people come more and more as they get to know other members of your community, other clients. They come not just because you have great classes, not just because you have you're located in the right place, but because they have that sense of friendship and kinship with other folks in your studio, which is energizing to them and adds to their sort of feelings around why they come to your studio. Now, if you're looking for a community of other studio owners as well, just like you're creating for your clients in your business, and you're looking for a community of studio owners who will support you, who will encourage you and help you grow your studio business, then you will also want to check out my Thrive program. You can go to spring3.com and see how my members are really engaging in this beautiful community from inside their studio business, and how they are using this community to build and grow and thrive, literally thrive, each and every day inside of their studio businesses. So I'm going to link to that in the show notes. And I'm excited to hear from you guys about how your community has evolved throughout the last couple of years. It's a time we know that we have leaned on each other more so than ever before. And as we continue to evolve through the next few months and beyond, the importance of community and bringing people together, is going to be so incredibly vital and such an incredible part of what you're going to be doing inside of your studio businesses. So I hope this was helpful to you as you continue to build and grow your studio. And if you're loving what you're hearing, I would be so appreciative if you could take a quick minute and go to wherever you're listening to this and rate and review this podcast. It would mean a ton to me, and it will help to get the podcast out into our community so that more teachers and more business owners just like you can feel encouraged and supported on their journey in our industry. Did you love this episode and want more? Head to spring3.com and check out my free resources that will help you run a profitable and fulfilling studio business. And before you go, one last reminder, there is no one way to do what you do, only your way. So whatever it is that you want to do, create, or offer, you've got this. Thanks again for joining me today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.